So this is what I hope is the last video. And this is on conic section, which should be a relatively quick review, considering that was the last thing we covered. And so this, and it's kind of hard to tell because this is all black and white, this is the cut of a parabola. Parabola. You can see the parabolic shape here. This is a circle because it is parallel to the base. This makes a little oval shape, which is an ellipse. And then this makes the hyperbola. Easy way to remember is that a parabola only has one, hyperbola has two curves. Standard form of each. All of these you have x minus h, and so for a circle, x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to the radius squared. The ellipse is fairly similar to that, x minus h quantity squared over a squared plus y minus k quantity squared over b squared is equal to 1. Vertical and horizontal parabolas and hyperbolas have distinct equations whether they're horizontal or vertical. A vertical parabola would be x minus h quantity squared is equal to 4p y minus k. It's vertical, and so the y is the first power term. The coefficient 4p, where p is the focal length, is attached to the first power term. The horizontal is then y minus k squared. The horizontal term is first power, so you'll have x minus h to the first power, and then you have the 4p attached to that first power coefficient. The only difference between a horizontal hyperbola and a vertical hyperbola is which comes first. Okay, so a horizontal hyperbola, your minuend is the x minus h squared over a squared, and you are subtracting the y minus k squared over b squared, still equal to 1. Vertical hyperbola is similar, except you lead in with the y term, so you have y minus k quantity squared over b squared minus x minus h quantity squared over a squared. And I know my x looks like a y. I'm sorry about that. This is an x. Here, let me rewrite that. There we go. Is equal to 1. Okay, so let's write the equation of the circle over to the right. We know that our radius is equal to 3, and we have found our center point at 1, negative 2. So our center here is 1, negative 2. Our radius is 3, and so we're going to square our radius, and so that's 9. And we remember that insiders lie. So we have x minus 1 squared plus y minus a minus 2, which is the same as y plus 2 quantity squared. And that's how you write the equation of the circle. Yes, I write the equation of the circle if it was shifted 3 units up and 5 units to the left. In this case, we know it's still going to be equal to 9 because we didn't change the radius. And so from our center point, we're going to shift it up 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to shift it 5 units to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so our new center is going to be negative 4, 1. Radius is still 3, so it's still equal to 9. We're going to have y. We're going to have x. And so negative times a negative is a positive 4 minus 1. And there we go. So that was fun. And it's on to the next one. Okay. Once again, you have your ellipse. We're going to find our center. our center is going to be 1, 2. So that tells us that we're going to have x minus 1 squared over something plus y minus 2 squared over something else is going to equal to 1. So now we have to find our horizontal and vertical radii. Well, our horizontal radius A is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A is equal to 5. So we're going to put that on the bottom, and that's 5 squared. Now, you may have to evaluate 5 squared as 25. I'm not going to do that since I only have one blank. Then here we have our vertical radius of 1, 2, 3. So then we're going to have 3 squared here. Again, in the actual exam, your choice will probably be evaluated versions of 5 squared and 3 squared or the like. The next thing it's going to ask you to do is write the equation if the ellipse was shifted 2 units down and 1 unit to the right. Again, the radii haven't changed, so we still have something that's going to be equal to 1. We still have something over 3 squared. I'm going to go on ahead and evaluate 3 squared as 9 in this case. Still going to be plus. Still going to be 5 squared on the bottom here, which is 25. We know it's going to be y with something squared. We know it's going to be x with something squared. And if there isn't anything squared, then we'll just put a 0. So it says shifted 2 units down, 1, 2, and then 1 unit to the right. So that means my new center is going to be 2, 0. So I can write this as y minus 0 squared over 1 and x minus 2. Or I can write it as x minus 2 quantity squared over 25 plus y squared over 9 is equal to 1. This would be a simpler version, and here I had the space to do it. This next one is going to be just a little bit more tasty. Okay, so we still need to find the center. Center here is going to be -1, -2. We still need to find our horizontal radius. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A is equal to 5. B is equal to 1, 2, 3. Now here's where life gets tricky. This is a vertical hyperbola. So unlike the ellipse, where we lead with the x, this one we have to lead with the y. So we're going to have y something squared over something minus x something squared over something is equal to 1. A is still the horizontal radius, or the horizontal displacement. So that's going to be underneath the x, and it's still going to be squared. B is going to be underneath the y. It's still going to be squared. Now, just because y comes first in the equation does not change the fact that x comes first in the coordinate system. So, -1 is going to be a positive 1, and that's going to be assigned to your x value because this is the x value of the center. -2 is going to be a positive 2, and that goes with the y value. And that's really pretty much all there is to it. Again, you're dealing with write the equation of the parabola if it was shifted. So we're not rotating. So it's still going to be a vertical hyperbola. So it's still going to be y and something squared over 9. It's still going to be x and something squared over 25. And it's still going to equal 1. Now, it says 4 units up. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 unit to the right. So here we have and it's hard to tell on this graphic because remember, here's your axis here. So really, your coordinate is 0, 2. And so you have x minus 0, y minus 2, because insiders lie. X first in the coordinate goes with the x coordinate there. Y coordinate here goes with the y coordinate there. Simplify it just a little bit because x minus 0 is just x. So you have x squared over 25 still equals 1, and you have y minus 2 quantity squared over 9. And that's it. And that, I think, was the shortest video we've had at 10 minutes. Okay. Any questions, feel free to nag me about it in class, and you all have copies of the exam schedule that I gave you on Friday. If not, I have spares. Ta-ta!